It's impossible for sectors of power in the United States to manufacture a virtual reality and impose it on believers' Venezuela. A model of colonial and slave-like domination to steal its natural resources. That's impossible. Because here, there is a people rooted in the land, in the communities, in the universities, in the factories, in the barracks, and that people have shown enough ability to lead our homeland on the right path at a good pace, with good judgment. Our message is one of peace, love, and understanding. And if, in the United States, one day someone decides, on the basis of respect, to talk and move beyond failed projects of more than 25 years, here there will always be a president who represents his people, ready to reach out and seek paths of peace, cooperation, and prosperity. It had to be said, and it was said, in the name of Christ the Redeemer. And so this will be a promise kept forever. The press, United States, listen to me. Pay attention, media in the United States. Pay attention, because there's a deep Venezuela. You cannot ignore it. A strong, powerful Venezuela that stands tall and seeks peace. Seeks peace, builds it, and defends it.
You may say one thing, that drugs coming in through the sea by sea are down 91%. And I don't know who the 9% is.
I'm not sure either, sir.
But down 91% by sea.
President Donald Trump announced Tuesday that the United States would impose a blockade on all sanctioned oil tankers going to and from Venezuela in an escalation of the administration's months-long pressure campaign against Nicolas Maduro, the leader of Venezuela. Trump announced the move in bellicose terms. Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America, he wrote on social media. It will only get bigger, and the shock to them will be like nothing they have ever seen before, Trump said.
It must be profoundly different, but we, as a united and determined people, always have to be like vigilant warriors, with both our eyes wide open, constantly observing and analyzing, diligently working, tirelessly producing, and steadfastly building a better future for everyone. All of us must be fully functioning, always, and absolutely ready to decisively smash their teeth in with unwavering resolve and collective strength if such a drastic measure becomes absolutely necessary for our survival and sovereignty.
The move could lead to a drop in revenues that the Venezuelan government and its state-owned oil company get from oil exports. But the announcement left much unclear, including how many oil tankers would be affected. Trump did not define what he meant by sanctioned oil tankers, and it was not apparent exactly which oil tankers the United States planned to try to intercept.
U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio attended a classified Senate briefing on Venezuelan boat strikes, and post the briefing, Trump's war secretary vowed that he won't release the top-secret unedited video clip of the September 2 strikes to the general public.
It is the 22nd bipartisan briefing we've had on a highly successful mission to counter designated terrorist organizations, cartels, bringing weapons meaning drugs, to the American people and poisoning the American people for far too long. So we're proud of what we're doing, able to lay it out very directly to these senators and soon to the House. But it's all classified. We can't talk about it now. We're also going to tomorrow allow the HASC and SASC to see the unedited video of the September 2nd, alongside with Admiral Bradley, who has done a fantastic job, has made all the right calls, and we're glad he'll be there to do it. But in keeping with long-standing Department of War policy, Department of Defense policy, of course, we're not going to release a top secret, full unedited video of that to the general public. HASC and SASC and appropriate committees will see it, but not the general.
Obviously, we had a classified hearing, so the details of which we can't discuss. It's, I believe, our 22nd or 23rd bipartisan engagement. We'll continue to engage with Congress on this. We're headed to the House now to do a similar briefing and provide updates on this counter-drug mission, which is focused on dismantling the infrastructure of these terrorist organizations that are operating in our hemisphere, undermining the security of Americans, killing Americans, poisoning Americans. And this has been a highly successful mission that's ongoing and continued, and we're pleased to be here today to update Congress on how that's developing and how that's moving forward. As I said, I believe it's our 22nd, 23rd such engagement, certainly been at least the 4th or 5th that I've been involved in, and those will remain and be ongoing.
Let's talk about the whole picture here as a whole. Guys, I'm losing patience on the whole thing because I think it's ridiculous that we're having this conversation, because underneath Obama, he had 500 strikes, 3,700 different individuals were killed. There wasn't a big show about this. What you guys are all upset about is the hemisphere that it's working in. The hemisphere is these are drug terrorist organizations. The same people that Obama went after, some people we've been over for the last 24 years, were terrorist organizations that were wanting to kill Americans. There has been more Americans killed because of these terrorist cartels drugging our streets, drugging everyone to your all's streets, everyone to your all's towns, everyone to the audience's towns. They've killed more people in 2024 on our streets than we lost in the entire Vietnam War for U.S. personnel. These are terrorist organizations that are poisoning our streets. The president has the authority to do so. The argument is it's too close to our shores. Does anybody doubt that these are terrorist organizations? Does anybody have a question about these being terrorist organizations? So what's the difference between Obama attacking these individuals when they were deemed terrorist organizations in the Middle East versus the ones that are here right now poisoning our streets? That's what the whole conversation is about.
But to go after Admiral Bradley, to go after the brave men and women in uniform who are conducting these attacks, is to indict the very system that was used bipartisanly for the last 24 years. I personally was involved in many of these operations, from kinetic strikes to direct action operations. And the process we have is legally sound. It's been supported by legal opinions for a quarter century now of how we find these people, we fix them, and we finish them. And keep in mind, if we don't drop a bomb and we decide to interdict, as is being said by many folks, we have an obligation to send a team to interdict. When we make that decision, you're putting our lives at risk. You're putting Americans' lives at risk. Just about a year and a half ago, you remember 2 SEALs were killed interdicting a vessel at night in the Red Sea. Interdicting a vessel underway is perhaps the most dangerous mission we have in our entire military inventory. When we task our commandos to go out and attack a vessel underway, that's an incredibly high-risk mission. So when folks say, well, we should be interdicting, that's easy for you to say here in this building between 2 cups of cappuccinos. It's a lot harder to send that 24-year-old operator out there who's got a wife and kids and tell him in the middle of the night, you got to fast up out of a helicopter, scuba dive under a ship, climb up the side of that, and fight your way onto a vessel, because we're more worried about the lives of drug dealers than we are our own people. And that's a high-risk mission.
But what actually happened on September 2nd? What was Hegseth's order that created a huge political storm in the U.S.? Watch to know further.
The Pentagon and its chief, Pete Hegseth, are facing heat after reports claim that the Secretary of War ordered a deadly second strike on a Venezuelan drug boat, raising questions of legality and ethics. The Pentagon is facing growing scrutiny after a report by the Washington Post alleged that Pete Hegseth ordered a deadly strike on a boat, explicitly instructing forces to kill everyone aboard. According to the report, this directive led to a second strike on September 2nd, targeting the damaged hull of the vessel, killing 2 individuals who had survived the first attack. The follow-up strike reportedly aimed to eliminate survivors rather than detain them. These revelations have raised serious legal and ethical concerns over the conduct of U.S. forces. U.S. surveillance tracked a boat carrying 11 suspected drug traffickers, prompting Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to reportedly give a spoken order, "Kill everybody." A missile struck the vessel off Trinidad, setting it ablaze, but 2 survivors were seen clinging to the wreck. The Special Operations Commander then carried out a second strike, killing the 2 men in the water. Hegseth dismissed the report as fabricated, inflammatory, and derogatory, and called out the fake news Washington Post. Defending the strikes as meant to be lethal and kinetic, the Secretary of War said that the intention is to stop drug traffickers from entering the U.S. He further defended the operations in the Caribbean as lawful and under international law, and vowed that he would always have the soldiers back. But amid the dismissal of the Washington Post report, Hegseth's cryptic one-liner post grabbed more eyeballs than the long clarification. In a different post from his personal account on X, Hegseth penned, "We have only just begun to kill narco-terrorists," a chilling one-liner enough to cast doubt on his long clarification and confirm his "kill everybody" order. Following the report, Republican-led Senate and House committees have committed to intensifying their oversight of the Pentagon and have pledged to carry out vigorous oversight of the U.S. boat strikes in the Caribbean. Whoever says what, U.S. President Donald Trump has 100% faith in his Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth. On November 30th, President Trump defended Hegseth amid reports he ordered a second strike on a Venezuelan drug boat, saying he trusts Hegseth's denial and would not have backed a follow-up attack. He said he did not say that, and I believe him 100%, Trump said. When reporters pressed Trump on whether he would have authorized a second strike had Hegseth ordered it, he replied, "No, I wouldn't have wanted that, not a second strike."
Mr. President, on Venezuela, can you tell us more about why the airspace above Venezuela should be considered closed?
Because we consider Venezuela to be not a very friendly country. They sent millions of people, really, and probably a number in excess of that. And a lot of those people shouldn't be in our country, from jails, from gangs, from drug dealers, from all of the people that came into our country shouldn't have been in our country, causing a lot of problem.
Does your warning
and drugs.
Does your warning mean that an airstrike is imminent, or should we not read it that way?
Don't read anything into it.
The New York Times reported that you had a phone call with Maduro. Did you?
I don't want to comment on it. The answer is yes.
And can you tell us a little bit
No,
about
I can't do that.
Mr. President,
Would you say it went well?
I wouldn't say it went well or badly. It was a phone call. Yeah.
you've made so
Can you talk a little bit about the strikes and the controversy around Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth?
I don't know anything about it. He said he did not say that, and I believe him 100%.
So you don't know if there was
You're talking about the two men?
the second strike to kill the two men.
No, he said he didn't do it. He said he never said
Would
it.
you be okay with that if he did?
He said he didn't do it, so I don't have to make that decision.
Mr. You've made so clear how you want to keep drugs out of the U.S.
Right.
Can you explain more about why you would pardon a notorious drug trafficker,
Well, I don't know who you're talking about. Which
Juan
one?
Orlando Hernandez?
Well, I was asked by Honduras, many of the people of Honduras, they said it was a Biden setup. I don't mean Biden. Look, Biden didn't know he was alive, but it was the people that surround the Resolute desk, surround Biden when he was there, which was about very little time. And the people of Honduras really thought he was set up, and it was a terrible thing. He was the president of the country. And they basically said he was a drug dealer because he was the president of the country. And they said it was a Biden administration setup. And I looked at the facts and I agreed with them.
What evidence can you share that he was set up and that he wasn't?
Well, you take a look. I mean, they could say that you take any country you want. If somebody sells drugs in that country, that doesn't mean you arrest the president and put him in jail for the rest of his life.
President, can I just clarify, do you think the U.S.
And that includes this country, okay? To be honest, I mean, if somebody does something wrong, you put the president of the country in jail. They said it was a Biden setup. It was a Biden administration setup. And you have a big race going on this week, next week. I think it's going to be a very important race. It'll be interesting to see Honduras. That's what you're talking about, right?
Correct, yes.
On the Venezuela boat strike, if there were a second strike that killed wounded people wounded in the first strike, are you
Well,
thinking
number one,
that would be legal?
Number one, I don't know that happened. And Pete said he did not want them. He didn't even know what people were talking about. So we'll look into it. But no, I wouldn't have wanted that. Not a second strike. The first strike was very lethal. It was fine, and if there were two people around. But Pete said that didn't happen.
Does that make you?
I have great confidence.
You
in
say
that.
there's no second strike?
I don't know. I'm going to find out about it. But Pete said he did not order the death of those two men.